Okay, hello there kids. Today you're going to learn how to be familiar with the pie chart. No? So ano nga ba ang pie chart? What do you mean by pie chart nga ba? This actually refers to data collection in which we make use of a circle that represents the pie, the food, 'di ba? So if you can still remember your past lessons when you were in grade 4, yung mga graphs nyo, even in grade 2, parang may basic graphs na tayo, grade 2, 3, 4. In which yung ba mga graph na, for example, ganito, on a straight line, meron tayong mga data, in which at some point, this represents 100, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. So this is actually a basic representation of charts, o of a graph. No? Parang ganyan. It basically shows you the data, no? So this is called a graph. Sa pie chart naman, they basically make use of the circle instead. Circle ang ginagamit natin dito as data reference, in which this circle represents your total. Total what? Depende sa topic. Total participants, pwedeng participants. Yung mga nagjo-join, okay? For example, total number of animals, 'di ba? So for example, yung pie chart nyo, this represents the total number of animals in a zoo. So ganyan yung mga basic. So other things that you need to learn about pie charts, especially for circles. When you say half of it, this represents 50%. Okay? Both sides represent 50%. Okay? Basta kalahati, basta sinasabing half, it's automatically 50%. Okay? In fraction form, it's 1/2. In percentage form, it's 50%. In decimal form, it's 0.5. Okay? 50%, 1/2, 0.5. Kapag i-convert nyo yan from percentage to decimal. Things that you should be familiar again. Meron mga data na pinapakita that it is a quarter lang. Representation of a quarter, usually pinapakita ang right angle. Kapag right angle, it means 1/4. Okay, which means that this part represents 1/4 of the figure. Pag 1/4, ibig sabihin that's 25% automatically. Okay, that's why last time you have the activity of dealing with fractions and percentage muna, so that you will be able to remember things on how to solve, no? For example, ito, paano nga ba, bakit nyo kailangan to malaman? Why do you need to learn about percentage and yung mga fractions na yan? Kasi for example, let's say a pie chart represents a total number of animals. Okay? Total animals in a zoo. And there is a situation where it says that this part represents the total number of, let's say, elephants. Okay. Then knowing ang sinabi doon sa main clue ninyo that the total number of animals in that zoo is 200. And now, because of this drawing, itong 1/4 na to, you now know that the number of elephants is 1/4 of total, which is in this case is 200. Diba? So how will you be able to get the number of elephants in that zoo? Because of this data, because of this graph alone, itong pie chart na to. So 1/4 of total, which is in this case is 200. Zoo yan na, hindi 200. Okay. So, but this one is 200 na. Okay. Of 200. So, 1/4 times 200. You already know how to deal with this, di ba? Pinakita ko na to sa inyo last time. In which you're going to express it either as a fraction as well, in which you are now left with 200 over 4. 200 over 4 will give you 50. So, which means in this case, just because of this basic data, you now know that there are 50 elephants. And what if in that zoo, there are only two types of animals, and this part shows you the number of monkeys. Obvious na yan, ha? If this represents 1/4, what part of the fraction is this sa pie chart? Okay? Again, i-draw ko ulit yung circle. If this represents 1/4, what part of the fraction is this? So, please lang, dapat alam nyo yan. Okay? As a grade 6 student, you should know this. That this should automatically be equivalent to 3/4. Okay? Automatic yan. Kasi nga, 1/4 plus 3/4 will give you 4/4. So, lahat yan. If I'm gonna shade this pa, if there's a need for me to shade para makita nyo lang, basic fraction yan. You have 1, 2, 3 shaded parts out of 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. That's why it's 3/4. Now, what if sinabi sa inyo ngayon that let's say yung B nyo, the rest of the animals are monkeys. How many monkeys are there? So this is just an example kasi nga para lang ma-gets nyo yung basic. There are two ways. Since you were able to solve A already, madali na lang yan. You knowing that there are 50 elephants, and there are 200 animals in total, okay, total yan. So, ilan nga ba ang monkeys? Ilan nga ba ang monkeys? So, because of this data alone, you will be able to know that to get the number of monkeys, all you need to do is just to get the total and subtract the 50 elephants from there, which you are now left with 150. So, ibig sabihin there are 150 monkeys. But if you want to solve it using the data, the fraction earlier, you know that the monkeys represent 3/4 of the graph. Okay? 3/4 of the pie chart. And 3/4 of total, in which your total is equivalent to 200, kasi nga alam nyo yung total animals doon. Kasi nga, when you talk about the pie chart, like what I've said earlier sa intro, it's your total. You should take note of that. Okay. So, ibig sabihin dito ngayon, solving this how I taught you, 200/1, in which you are now left with 600 divided by 4. 600 divided by 4 will now leave you with 150. And if you notice that our answer here is the same as this one. Okay. That is when the total is given. That is how you solve parts of the fraction. I mean the pie charts. Although your pie charts are literally mahirap. Okay? Mahihirap yan. Pero sige lang. Anyway, this is just to give you the idea, the hint. Okay, another situation. Okay, another situation na to ha. This is no longer connected to the given data earlier. Okay, what if ang sinabi dyan ngayon that with the given pie chart, this shows 1/3 and this represents, let's say, the number of ano ba? Pebbles in terms of collection, no? And these are, let's say, grains. The remaining are grains. Pinaka-basic nyo muna, as much as possible. Since you already know that this is 1/3, you should know that this missing part should be equivalent to 2/3. Data gathering na lang yan. Dire-diretso na. Okay, filling out the missing value just in case you need them later. Okay, ngayon, now that sasabihin sa inyo ngayon, there are, let's say, 45 pebbles. Walang total ha. Question is, how many grains are there? how many items are there? Okay, so what I mean with items here is the total of this figure. So knowing that 1/3 is represented by the pebbles, in which there are 45 pebbles. So if I'm going to draw the chart here, the circle here again, 1/3 to siya. In other words, you can subdivide the rest. This is 1/3, this is 1/3, this is also 1/3. So which means itong 1/3 na to represents 45, di ba? In other words, the rest of the 1/3s here also represent 45. Okay? So 45, 45 yan, kada isang 1/3. Kasi nga, you already have the clue that for every 1/3, it's equivalent to 45. Ngayon, you now know that this represents the pebbles. And this here represents the grains. Okay. Question letter A, how many grains are there? So if you notice, this na yung ni 1/3 nyo kanina is part of the grains kanina. So total part ng grains ninyo is ito talaga, 1, 2. So that's 45 plus 45, which will give you a total of 90. Okay? 90. So there are 90 grains and there are 45 pebbles. Question letter B, how many items are there? In other words, all in all. Sa loob ng pie chart na to, ilan lahat ang items? So you now know that pebbles are 45 and the grains are 90. So all you need to do is just to add them all up, which will now give you an equivalent of 135. Okay? So that is the basic. Ito yung pinaka-basic talaga. In terms of information regarding pie charts. This is how you deal with pie charts. Either the total is given or just a fraction of it is given. Okay? So, you are not going to answer anything yet kasi gagawin natin yan next week. Okay? So, that's basically it for today. At least this is just to give you the idea on how to deal with pie charts. Okay?